On real estate. You invest in real estate, the largest and most tangible asset class in the world. You don't believe in any of this NFT mumbo-jumbo. What? You're just buying a token? The JPEG is somewhere else. What are you even buying? I regret to inform you, or actually am happy to inform you, that you are just like us. You trade in paper-based tokens with no intrinsic value whatsoever. Your assets are way off-chain. Your ownership of land, houses, and apartments is a 100% made-up social convention. Wait, what? Imagine you are off to buy a house on a nice piece of land somewhere in the suburbs, or a one-bedroom in New York City, or a farm in the heartland, or a ranch in Montana. Maybe the Bitterroot fishing cabin, 15 acres, 226 E. What does it mean to buy that ranch in Montana? What does that process actually entail? Well, most likely you will wire money to the seller. Some bits will change in a computer somewhere, and you will transfer some social credits / claims on other people's resources. Then what? Then you will sign some pieces of paper, except instead of signing cryptographically, you are using a very old technology, that of pen and paper. A notary, a special signature priest, will watch you to ensure and assert that you signed correctly. Then you will take that piece of paper to the clerk and recorder's office in the county that the property is located. You had gone there before to confirm that the title was clean, that the seller wasn't lying to you. Now you are back to give them the piece of paper. Excellent. All has gone well, and you are the owner of 15 acres of river, grass, trees, and a home. Looks nice, actually. The river curves charmingly. The mountains form a pleasing V. The sellers assure you the fishing is good. There are some additional nuances we have not covered: mineral rights, water rights, stream access, zoning, floodplains. But you are a serious buyer. You did your diligence, and all these have been dealt with. Okay, great. So what is the issue? Well, what is the issue? The whole thing is completely imaginary make-believe. That is the whole issue. Two people sat in a county office 20 miles away, signed a piece of paper. Someone else blessed the signature, and magically the land is owned by someone else. Does that deed automatically build a fence? No. Does that deed give you superpowers? No. Does that deed keep out people, animals, fish, storms, or snow from your property? No. Does that deed do anything at all in the physical world where your property is located? Of course not. The relationship between that deed and that land is exactly as off-chain as the relationship between an NFT token and a JPEG located on a centralized server somewhere. The link between your deed and your land is only social convention, nothing more. Owning real estate is a fairly mature concept in the West, so the social convention is pretty strong and fades into the background and we forget it. But it is all social convention that keeps a stranger out of your living room. Real estate social conventions. A. You do not go on someone else's private property uninvited. Trespassing. B. The database of record is the title registry. C. Disputes are handled in court. D. Ultimate enforcement of A to C is a gun and a metal cage. There are stories, perhaps apocryphal, about how Native Americans signed over land to colonists because they thought it was laughable that someone could own the plains and the mountains and the streams. It seems hard to imagine today, but let me help you imagine it. Imagine the vast Pacific Ocean, far out in international waters, and imagine that I assert that 1 acre of that ocean is mine. And, I don't know, I sign a contract with Cribarat saying so and get 6529 to notarize it. And I declare myself supreme ruler of that 1 acre. You would all laugh at me. And the reason you would laugh at me is that today, as it relates to the vast oceans, we are pre-industrial. We do not have the tech to practically enforce property rights thousands of miles from shore, so international waters it is. Something like that must have been the 18th and 19th centuries on the vast American frontier. Endless mountains, forests, plains, and rivers, and a ragtag bunch of guys on horses riding around declaring, "I am the supreme ruler of this mountain." If you were around, you'd laugh. But we did industrialize on land, and more people with guns came, and they shot people who were on their land. And then as more and more people came, we become more refined. Less shooting, more magical ceremonies at the county office, laws, judges. Everything human is social convention, myth, memes, stories. That you can own the land, the water, the minerals, the air above it, is a social convention, a meme, a myth. The title deed, the play acting, the notary, is the play acting of that myth. You don't see real estate ownership as social convention because you and your grandparents and their grandparents grew up with it. It seemed normal. And so it feels real, even though it is just a story we all agree to believe, a game with commonly agreed rules. Soon, digital ownership will feel the same way. It already does to me, because I am 8 years in and my social convention has shifted. It might feel that way to you. If not you, your children. If not your kids, for sure, your grandchildren. And digital ownership will work the same way with social convention. The token is the title deed. What that specific token means is all social convention. The one difference is we have less need for guns, at least digitally. We enforce our rights with math, not bullets. If someone trespasses in my house, I might need muscles or a gun to get them out. It would be hard for someone to digitally trespass on my tokens. Of course, they might go after the keys in real life, but that is a derivative approach. The digital tokens themselves are quite safe. The reason tokens and NFTs and digital objects are disconcerting to people is that they get to watch the social convention be built in real time. And it seems fake, make-believe, like all the NFT fam has lost their minds playing some make-believe game. And NFTs are make-believe in that sense, a social convention, a meme, a myth, a game with mutually agreed rules where we all agree that token 780000313 represents this image below. The breakthrough is to understand that everything else in society is exactly that way too. There is a piece of paper in a filing cabinet in some small office in Montana that we all agreed represents the land, trees, and water in this picture below. It is weirder, to be honest. Inevitably, some real estate attorney will mansplain to me that, but there are laws specifically describing the relationship between that piece of paper and the land. The answer to this is, so what? My view is that the existing laws are perfectly sufficient for tokens to represent art. In the event that, for some reason, they are not, we can make additional laws. There was a time, for example, when we did not have e-signatures and now we do. It is okay to learn new things. I can see from the replies that this thread is going to disconcert a lot of people. But I have rights to my property. Yes, sir, you do, but where did those come from? The universe itself? Or because a couple of 100 years in Montana we decided a human can own a stream? Do the stream and the mountain know that they are owned? Do they care that they are owned? It is just a game among humans. This is my stream and I can fish here and you can't. And we are playing a cryptographic game. I can move Fidenza 313 token and you can't. People are passionate about property rights and I am glad they are. I suspect society works better with the feeling of ownership. The goal of Project Open Metaverse is to ensure you have property rights in a digital world too, that you are not a serf on someone else's land. I think it is wonderful that you can own a fishing cabin in Montana, and I think it is wonderful that you can own a Fidenza. I think it is less wonderful to be a user on www.facebook.com, there solely at the discretion of the company. This is what we fight for, fam. That we have the same rights online in a progressively more digital society that we have in the physical world. Everyone should be in favor of this, right-wing and left-wing alike. It is a human rights and property rights issue. But, sadly, our politicians are behind. They are not there yet. So we need to do it ourselves for now and patronize online communities where we are sovereign owners and have the right to exit and take our things with us. Not online communities where we are users. I will wrap here. If you are coming for the first time and want to learn more about NFTs, see more threads in the plan for the Open Metaverse here.